Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Goofball Coalition, where we are morning, noon, and night. Your entire day. Sketch, improv, and stand-up. I'm Leslie Nesbitt. I'm sketch comedy.
I'm Alex Knight. I'm an improviser.
My name is Sarah Kennedy, and I'm a stand-up comedian.
And here we are, three of us, talking.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Goofball Coalition, the podcast that lives where improv and stand-up collide. And now, here's your hosts, Alex Knight and Sarah Kennedy.
And Leslie.
Leslie, yeah. I swear, Matthew's going to come in with a new intro any day now. So
I'm curious, with morning, noon, and night, if these crafts, if we had to build a day-long show, where would we put our three things?
I'm gonna just take stand-up as morning, but I mean it in like a after midnight way. So it's like on the clock after
I feel
morning.
like stand-up does have to be last.
Yeah.
And I feel like sketch would maybe have to be morning because it's like people are too groggy to follow an improv show. Like,
sure.
Sketch will be like, it'll take care of you, like a Sesame Street. You're going to have scenes and stuff. Yeah. So I'd say I'd put a sketch in the morning, improv at lunch, and then stand up at night is how I would build that show. I don't know.
I agree. Honestly, feels right.
All right, good. All right.
Feels right, my gut.
That out of the way. Let's never do that, though.
No, I don't want to do anything in the morning. Leave me alone in the morning. That's what.
I'm having my coffee right now at 1. So same thing. Not a morning.
Yeah. All right. Today we're gonna just get our conversation going on what has come out that's huge in the news, and that is Bowen Yang saying that he recalls an SNL host making multiple cast members cry.
Who is Bowen Yang? Who is Bowen Yang?
Oh, man. He's an Asian comedian, number one. Number two, I know him from a very great podcast called Los Culturistas. So good. But he does comedy, and I know him from there. I'm not really sure how that it was in New York, so I think that's a natural transition to SNL, right? He gets kind of
he's a cast member or a writer.
Cast member of SNL. He started out as a writer and then transitioned into being a cast member like within a year.
That's right. I forgot about that part. Yeah. But highly recommend that podcast. Yes, and he's been a cast member for several years now. And he has great Weekend Update desk people like the iceberg that Titanic hit. Hilarious. He does a lot of great stuff when Maya Rudolph comes on because he's also like musical. So anyway, I could talk about him. We're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
What we're here to talk about is, here's what he said. This person, so we know it's a man.
This person.
This host made multiple cast members cry on Wednesday during before the table read because he hated the ideas.
Ooh.
And usually they've stayed up all night Tuesday writing the idea. Like
they're a little emotionally fragile as well.
Yeah.
Right, and they've pitched
on top of it
before they even started writing. So
to this person, the host would have already heard these pitches.
Yes.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. So I know, and so there's a lot of debate on like who it is, but are there times that anybody is like you worked with has made you frustrated, or I don't know, what is it? Super emotional heroes, people.
Yeah. I mean, I can only liken it kind of to when I was like building original work with my theater company Tricklock back in the day. We would, because that's the only time I've had like my writing or my ideas kind of put on a table in front of people and had people judge it. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks when you work hard on something and people don't like it. I don't think I've been pushed to that point, but again, I haven't had the vulnerability of that kind of that level of vulnerability in terms of like staying up on a deadline, creating this thing and being told that it sucks.
Right.
But I've definitely dealt with, I've had flavors of it, but not as tough as that, I suppose, personally.
Yeah. I can only liken like that specific kind of experience is the advanced writer lab at the Groundlings.
Ooh, yeah.
Because we, in like, what was it, 8 weeks, we put on 2 shows, and each of them were different. And like in that, like, I don't know, 4-week span, we had to write maybe 40 sketches or something crazy like that. And I mean, you would try to pitch them, and pitching them isn't you just talking about them. You get your friends up on stage and they have to act them out in front of everyone. And then you get notes and you have to rewrite them all the way up until the show that night. And like, it's a wild time. And then just like having things that you love, like I had a sketch that I really loved, and she made me rewrite it so many times. It just turned into a pile of mush of terrible. And it was sad. It was like, but I really liked this, and I don't understand why you don't, or I don't understand what you're trying to get from me, kind of a thing. And that's more like a teacher thing, but it's just like, it was very frustrating. And then, each of that as well, you had to write with different people. So writing with someone that just doesn't have your writing style, it was very hard as well, but you kind of had to learn how to, collaborate with them because you had to write a sketch. But it was also very frustrating because you knew that sketch you're going to pitch that Saturday is just going to be crap because you just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answered any questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think for me, if anything, I actually maybe more relate to the other side of it, being more of a director type and telling people no. And it's like, it's not that he said that whoever this host was said no to these people. I'm sure it was the way it was said. Like, you're not just going to cry if someone's like, I'm not so into that idea. It's about how you deliver. I think feedback is maybe like the lesson I'm pulling from this article is like, if you don't like something, there's a way to massage it and lovingly like collaborate on something.
And also, SNL is notoriously brutal. Like they're in it for like whatever
those
the people
people
we got to get this done in a
are
week.
used
So
to
like,
it.
They're not. Yeah, this is not like a weak group of people who like can't handle feedback. This has been something like above and beyond.
Yeah, and it's not one person cried, right? It's like definitely damaged the feelings of multiple people. So this person was being an asshole. It sounds like.
Yeah.
And I think that's it again, is like as a director and someone that has like been approached with ideas and had to like, it's about how you acknowledge the work that was put into that idea and celebrate the things that are good about that idea, and then find a way to critique the things that aren't so positive about it, and again work towards a collaborative solution instead of just a no, fuck this.
Yeah.
I have 2 stories. Do you mind if I share both my stories?
Would you please?
Okay, so one of them happened here in town with a local headliner, and it was when I was pretty new in comedy. I think I was only a year in or something, but we were putting on a show at like the Orpheum. Actually, it was a nice space, but the thing about the Orpheum art space is if you have a show there, you have to set up everything. You have to set up your own tech, your own stage, your seat. You have to put out chairs. You have to like.
It's a room. It's just an empty room. Yeah, it's nice, but it's a room.
And so we were all helping out. We were all helping out. People, like even audience members or family members of people who were on the show, were all helping to put out like 100-some chairs or something. Except for the local headliner who just sat in one of the chairs that got like set down. He like sat in it and then just played solitaire on his phone the whole time while everything was happening all around him. And I was upset. And if it had been my TV show, he would have died in the first season, but that's whoever. So that one was the local story that happened here. And then the bigger nationwide story was my first year of running these festivals in New York. We had to schedule like 50 comedians who were coming to New York in like a weekend long contest, and then also sideshows, so they would get extra stage time. And we also had to find like a headliner who could perform at the end, but it wasn't really the end because it was about the contest. It was while the judges were tabulating the scores. And unfortunately, it was also when the club was dropping the checks, which normally in a club setup, I think my internet's cutting out again. But normally in a club setup, the check drop spot is meant for like newer comedians because everybody's very distracted and it's not usually the best time for a set. But normally we found these headliners who were gracious enough to share their time with us. And I had asked this one because we had met at a show in Brooklyn. She seemed very nice and very cool about like being a team player about things. You get to come to this festival, you get paid. She got up, did her set, and she got off stage and she ripped me a new one like you wouldn't believe about how she was bigger than a check drop spot and how dare we put her in a spot like that. And she has an agent and she could be doing anything in town and she could be on tour, but instead she spent the time with us. And I was like, so like, then I had to be like, well, we've had other bigger comics do this thing without any issue. And then that like set her off even worse. And then I was like, I'm so sorry. And she like stormed out. And then the next day I tried to follow up with like an apology, just Facebook message. And she used it as a chance to send me a giant essay, continuing to just like rip into me and just absolutely just like making me feel the teeniest, tiniest. And she's gone on to be pretty famous. I mean, she's not like Kevin Hart famous, but she's been on TV a couple times and we've been on shows years later. And hopefully it's that she doesn't remember, or she's just the kind of person who just let it go. But with the next time we were on a show together, I was like, hello. And she was super nice to me. So I don't know where that was at, but something must have happened.
It wasn't about you, and that's like almost always the case. Same thing with this person. It was like, this person was cranky pants for some reason and took it out on other people. And that is such a shit thing to do. Like, eat your pain. Don't dispense it. And especially if you are a person of power, don't shit it down the line, man. Like, that is so irresponsible. I think it is you have that ability to, I don't know, be graceful in a lot of ways. Even if you're upset, just be like, I'm better. In your head, think all those things that she said, and then be like, thank you, bye. And like, I don't know, I will sometimes leave a space quickly if I'm upset or whatever, but I'm not gonna make people feel bad about it. I will just leave or whatever, I don't know. And I've never felt that strongly that I was entitled to anything.
That's been my thing too.
Right.
I've always been so grateful to be doing comedy anywhere. I don't think ever. I mean, I think I've worked on a couple, like maybe a short film or two that I said yes to, and then later I regretted. But I was very professional about it, and I don't know. Yeah.
I was rough. I don't know. I like to think that maybe she got visited by 3 comedy ghosts at one point
That night.
in the night, and then it just changed her whole outlook on her career and other people. So,
oh gosh, yeah. That whole like, I have an agent and I could do anything. I was like, you know what?
But you're not.
Everybody has.
You're here.
We all have agents. Yeah.
We all have. Like, that's not a big deal.
I mean, what, like, I don't know, just in that case, like, what did that woman want and expect? She wanted to be the headlining spot. Did her set not go well?
It went fine.
But maybe she observed some people not paying attention or something and felt diminished.
Yeah, maybe if it were later, or if she was the headliner, it would have been a better audience.
Yeah. But it's like, if you're good, like, and I'm tabulating scores, I'm gonna stop and like be better than that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But yeah. It just, it's a lot of, there's a lot of emotions that come with things that you love doing.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to kind of sum it up. Like,
yeah.
And going back to, I talked about it like last episode, I think, but this idea of like this famous person, whoever this host is putting themselves on the line. They're in a vulnerable position. So if we wrote a bunch of like diaper baby sketches for them, yeah, you're going to be like, maybe I don't want to be in a diaper for these sketches. But
Right.
again, if they were pitchy, you should have known that. But so I can almost understand a world where you are like, I'm not going to do, like, these are embarrassing for me in some capacity, but also don't do Saturday Night Live unless you're willing to be vulnerable. Like, the best
Yeah.
hosts are the ones that really go all in and fully embarrass themselves, because that's kind of the game. It's to see
Well,
this person of prestige put themselves in lower status, kind of, in a lot of ways, I feel. And that's the gig you signed up for.
yeah, and I always noticed, at least with the guest stars, the cast really does try to take care of them. They
Yeah.
always put them in like a good spot. Like with the athletes, right? If they're
Mhm.
good at doing characters, they'll let them. But if they're not,
They'll
they're
protect
still
them.
going to put them in a good sketch that makes them look good. And even there were several people I thought that I saw that turned down David S. Pumpkins.
Mhm.
They turned it down. So
Oh, it's a
they
favorite
know the
sketch.
pitch and they say no. And then Tom Hanks was like, okay.
I'm glad he was the Pumpkins. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, and maybe it wouldn't have worked with the other people,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's just like, I think anybody that maybe, okay, I have a lot of, I have two thoughts. My first one was like, anybody that comes in to a place, I hope they know that if they're guest starring or if they're whatever, the people are going to have their backs, at least in improv or sketch or something like that. Like, the other thing was maybe that person was super scared,
Mm.
because that lashing out also comes from being freaked out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you guys run the math and see who it was and figure it out? It doesn't say what like
Oh.
season it was, right? Or do you have?
Isn't.
We can pull up.
So there's theories online right now that it was Elon Musk, possibly.
Makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah. There were a couple other ones like that people were just like, oh, it must have been, because I want to say that most of the male hosts from last season had done it before. There were a couple people who were like in their 5-timers club
Mhm.
jacket last year. So it couldn't have been like Jake Gyllenhaal, and it couldn't have been like, any of those guys. So I
don't know. I saw the new Roadhouse. Has Jake Gyllenhaal changed? Because he's
He's really nice
definitely
in that movie.
huge.
Nice.
But I mean, he's so ripped and like maybe he's changed as a man.
Maybe
But
he's,
no, I doubt it.
Got some
He
roid
seems-
rage.
yeah, a little.
Yeah, maybe he was roid raging. Yeah, I mean, Musk tracks. Like, that makes a lot of sense. I could see that guy who runs companies that is used to shitting on people, shit on some people, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know what happened like after, but I feel like at that point you think like, Lauren, did you have your cast members' backs, man?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, what did happen? I didn't read the article. What
It doesn't
was there any?
say. It just
just
kind
went-
of.
Yeah, they just
Because how did that show go? They quickly wrote some new sketches that were, because I can't imagine the new ones that they whipped up to appease this person were good. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
all right,
Well, I
let
don't
me
know if you
shit
guys
out
saw
something.
the Elon Musk episode. It's a
I did not.
nightmare. It's a
Okay.
train wreck.
So that would make sense. Like, even down to that idea of like, bro, it is too late to say no to ideas. Like, this is a place of yes and collaboration at this point. Like, you
Right.
can only move forward, because if you stop, you can't create a new product that is going to be better. You got to at least use the bones of the one that you didn't like, I suppose.
Yes.
I guess I'll have to watch that episode. It's particularly like good, like in terms of how terrible it is. Like,
So bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I actively avoided that one.
yeah,
There are several shows that I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to be into that.
yeah.
Oh
Ugh.
gosh.
Again, just like what a bummer. Just that whole idea of that of bringing tears and pain to a thing that, when there is a good host, it flows so beautifully. And going back to again what we talked about last week, it's a team sport, and like, that sucks when anyone on your team is being an asshole, and especially when they have more power in a lot of ways than you do. And it's your home. It's your home, and this person comes in and has the right to do that, or whatever, has the ability to do that. And you're right. Yeah, the boss should. I don't know what they do. I would rather kick that host out and be like, no host this week. Like, we're doing it without a host.
Yeah, we're bringing in whoever lives in New York.
Yeah.
You
Oh
think?
yeah. I mean, there's so many
Fine.
people that would
Mhm.
pinch it
Yeah,
on a last minute. Like they'd call them up and they would come in. I'm sure. So
absolutely. I think they did that with that one guy. Oh, I think he was a band though, but he like got COVID or something. It was like in the COVID year where they had to like do weird things.
mhm.
It was the
Anyway.
one where it was just them in the studio, no audience, and they brought in a bunch of cameos because they were like, well, if we're not going to have an audience, we might as well have people who live here in New York come in and do it. So
Mhm.
they had like John Hamm come in and all them. So that's pretty neat.
Oh,
It
and this
definitely
could
wasn't
be
John
a
Hamm.
total other show, but like 50th year is this year of Saturday Night Live. Like
Crazy.
Definitely got to have more Saturday Night Live episodes because
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about.
So much. So much.
All right, anything left on this one besides before we start just guessing every male host that they've had for the last 2 years?
No, let's look them up. I don't think so.
No, let's hit it. Segment
Oh.
3.
It's segment 3.
Segment 3. Hey, Sarah, you got some news, right?
I sure do. You better believe I do. We are all in the Funny Fiesta, which happens in September from the 18th until the 22nd, and that we've got multiple venues all around downtown and all around Albuquerque. So we happen to be doing the Goofball Show Edition, which is our take on an Armando, and also a Q&A with all of us hosts. We hope that you will join us for that. That'll be pretty good.
Mhm.
I hope that was the news you wanted to hear.
No, I was talking
No.
about the publicity.
Yes, you were right about that. That is awesome.
I mean, that other news is great. That's for all of us. But
Well,
you
I
have
mean,
a
at this
specific piece of
point-
news that's pretty cool that I want to
By the
talk to you
time
about.
this airs, I'm pretty sure we'll be done with our budget. But I got Jaihi on a billboard, right? Two billboards. Both of them are on I-25.
Mhm.
So if you pass by, I don't know, if you go in the underpass that's after Mountain Road, we're on those two right over there, kind of by your
Awesome.
exit to Central, which would get you
To
right downtown. Mhm.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, the questions I have is like that's I mean, it's tough to design a poster and a flyer. How do I do this? How do I do that? But to like put a lot of money into a big, huge thing, what did you decide? And I haven't seen the billboard yet, but like I will. But yeah, how did you go about doing that? You probably had to put the words comedy and stand up pretty big in there. Is there a
Mhm.
picture?
So right now, I feel weird. I'm like gonna tip my cards about this. So there's this new tool you can use. Maybe nobody listens this far on our podcast, and nobody will find out.
No
about it.
one does.
But it's this tool called Cassie, and it's basically it knows where every digital billboard is around the world, basically, and you can put in a bid, almost like you're buying a Facebook ad for specific ones in places you want to target, and then you just upload the art to it. They approve the artwork. Clear Channel or whoever owns the billboard approves
It's
it.
Clear
and
Channel.
then, well, sometimes it's Clear Channel, sometimes it's Lamar, and sometimes it's like whatever else.
Oh,
'Cause
I guess
sometimes,
so.
and it's not just the billboards either. There's like info boards in New York, or like those ones that are right over the subway stations. There's also like gas station register screens that you can do, and
Oh, crazy.
grocery stores, and so they've got connections to all those. And so you just make the art, put it up, set your budget, and then say what times you want them to run, and then they work to get you like popped into these little spots all over.
Nice.
So we are on those two on I-25. I tried to also bid for the one on Broadway and LED. You know that one that's like
That's
right
where
before
we
you get
hit the
into
box
downtown?
head one for a minute up there. Yeah.
And then a smoke shop outside of Old Town is going to have us on a little register screen. And then I don't know, I've been looking around at a whole bunch of them and just kind of seeing just what this whole thing is going to be like.
Yeah.
And then I woke up this morning and it was like, we've already shown it twice. And I was like, what? And so after we record this, I'm going to go drive down to it and just stand outside of it and try to get a picture of it, because I'm really excited that it's happening. So
That is so
and
fun.
the design I had, I used Midjourney to just give me a fakey one that just I was like, what would one that looked like this do? And then I didn't use the Midjourney one, so I did not use AI art on this. I made the actual copy and art, but it just says Dry Heat Comedy Club real big, and it's got our logo on both sides. And then it says second in downtown, comedy every weekend. And then on the sides of that, it's all of our staff just with a microphone on stage, like talking, like performing.
I love
So-
Yeah, I mean, like what? Yeah, it's just like, what do you put on a billboard? Like, you just need to tell them there is comedy downtown. Like, check it out.
They're showing right now for an average of 10 seconds each. So there's not even time to really scan a QR code or anything like that. So it really is just about an awareness. And
I mean, they work, because I was driving down when I lived all the way up north. I was driving down and I saw, like, as I was driving, just a flash of like the new all 80s channel, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the what? What the what? So,
Well, and I see so many of those Casadas ones all the time.
those are those are a real billboard buy. Like, so he bought, like, the casino has those, I think, ongoing, and right now they dedicated them to be just for Quesadas. So he's got the one with him on it, and then there's the one usually with like the biggest,
the new person coming. Yeah, I see it all the time. And so I'm just like, I've got to compete against that. Like, those are fine. You best be respectful towards other stand-ups, but I will say I don't think I like that club. I don't think I like the idea of it.
Great club.
From the improviser perspective.
They're very good about booking locals. It's very good. I like Quesadas a lot.
All right.
okay. All right.
I see his stuff on Instagram, his comedy, and I do not like his comedy.
Wow.
I don't like his comedy.
So comedy is extremely subjective, and that's part of the reason why we have this podcast. Yeah.
Wait.
What?
Hold
That
on.
explains everything.
Whoa, let's go back to one here.
Those shows were not bad shows I did.
Either.
Awesome. Anything else? Segment 3?
Yeah, just real quick. Just nobody else do that, because I really want to be the only person with a billboard.
Oh yeah, no one else do that.
Yeah, no, you guys can do it.
Just bleep out all that stuff that you talked about.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. All right.
What else is going on?
Good show. How was our Patreon? It's doing great, right?
Wonderful it's people. Good. Here's a little inside baseball. Patreon is in trouble with Apple, and we're gonna have to change something where we charge the people who are patrons like a fee, and the money is getting taken out of their Apple account. I don't know. I think we might just take the money and run. I mean, not run with it in a way. I think we can put it into our live show and maybe do something fun for all of our Patreons, like have them like come and
our next podcast
the money
is just a tumbleweed. It's a ghost town. We took the money and ran. No more empty.
That's it. But in the meantime, if you'd like to support us until November, when all of these changes take place, you can go to patreon.com/the Goofball Coalition podcast, and you can be team stand-up, team improv, or team sketch.
Very cool. Well, thank you everyone that has supported us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it so much. And everyone, even just listening, that is also support. Leave us reviews. That helps immensely.
Review, subscribe.
Send us questions. Again, send us questions and topics, things that you want to hear these three bozos ramble about.
You can't talk about Saturday Night Live every time. I could.
Yes, we can.
But you don't want that.
All right. We love you all. Thank you for listening.
Bye, y'all.